number 14, and that is where we'll pick up right now. Again, I mentioned in a previous video, there are two different formulas for going from Fahrenheit to Celsius and Celsius to Fahrenheit, but you don't need both. One is good enough, and this is the one I usually choose to do, F equals 9/5 C plus 32. The reason I do it is I realize and always remember that 0 degrees Celsius is the freezing point and 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So if I plug in a 0 for C, I get F equals 32. So I know that I'm right when I write this formula out. That said, you are going to be taking this test with the ability to use reference materials. And if you choose to know the other formula and use the other formula, that is fine also. So converting 50 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, this is the most complicated possible way to do this equation my way. And it's easier to remember just one formula, but it's a little more complicated to do the math involved. But that's the way I choose to do it. So I substitute a 50 in for Fahrenheit. 50 equals 9/5 C plus 32. Subtracting the 32, I get 18 equals 9/5 C. Divide both sides by 9/5, and I get C is 10. That is correct. It seems weird, but it is correct. Next one, convert 28 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. I plug in a 28 for Celsius. 9/5 times 28 plus 32 works out to 82.4. Okay. Next up, Professor Lindquist catches a 23.3-pound Atlantic salmon. Notice that I'm a fisherman, and the fish is growing bigger as time goes on. That's how we fishermen are. How many ounces is that? Well, 20. If I'm going from pounds to ounces, that's big to small, so I'm going to multiply. Conversion factor is 16 because there's 16 ounces in a pound. So 23.3 times 16 is 372.8 ounces. Next, number 16, Zach can throw a football 234 feet in the air. How many yards is that? Now I'm going from small to big. And if I go from small to big, I'm going to divide. 234 divided by 3, because that conversion factor is 3 feet in a yard, is 78 yards. Number 17a, find the absolute difference. If the true distance from your office to your home is 39.4 miles, but that odometer measures 40.9 miles. Again, those are decimal points, 39.4 and 40.9. So if I subtract, I get 1.5. That's your absolute difference. The relative difference is that 1.5 divided by the real or actual measurement, which is going to be 1.5 over 39.4, which is 3.8%. Next up, Debbie earns $69.21 per month. Debbie got a raise. 27% of her earnings go to housing costs. I guess she got a little better house too, because she's still 27%. Or that or her rent or her mortgage went up, one or the other. How much does Debbie pay for housing? Well, percent over 100 equals part over whole. So we know it's 27% out of the whole of 69.21. Cross multiplying, I get 100N equals 1868.67. Dividing by 100, I get $1,868.67 per month. Or you could have just said, look, 27% is 0.27 and multiply that by 69.21, her earnings per month, and she gets $1,868.67. Either way, works out to the same number. Part B, if Debbie puts $700 a month into long-term savings, what percent of her earnings go to long-term savings? Well, you want to find out the percent. So it's percent over 100, N over 100, looking for that percent, is the part over the whole. And the part is 700 out of the 69.21. Cross multiplying, I get 69.21 N equals 70,000. Dividing by 69.21, and I get N is 10.1%, which is a really great way to have a fantastic future. Number 19, the voter turnout in one election was 58.7%. The next election had a turnout of 53.2%. What are the absolute and relative changes? Well, the absolute is 53.2 minus 58.7. You went down 5.5%, right? So negative 5.5. And then if I do that negative 5.5 divided by the original amount, which was 58.7, I get negative 9.4%. Okay? Number 20. How many cubic inches are in 81 cubic feet? So we're going to convert from inches to feet. From feet to inches. I'm going from 81 cubic feet to how many inches. So if I go from feet to inches, I got feet cubed, so then I have to do the conversion 3 times. 12 inches per foot, 12 inches per foot, 12 inches per foot. once for each of those feet cubed. And I do the cancellations, the die, the alien abductions, whatever you want to call them. 81 times 12 times 12 times 12 is 139,968 inches cubed. Because inches times inches times inches is inches cubed. We said you deal with units like you do variables. X times x times x is x cubed. So inches times inches times inches is inches cubed. The distance from the Earth to the Sun is 93,300,000, which is 93.3 million miles. Express this in scientific notation. So again, you're just going to count how many places you move the decimal as if it was at the end of the zeros. I go 3, then another 3 is 6, and another one is 7. So I get 9.33 times 10 to the 7. Next, the distance between two subatomic particles is a whole bunch of zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros, and then 544. So you've moved it a total of 8 places. So it's 5.44 times 10 to the negative 8. Remember, you just want to make it say 5.44. The big mistake a lot of people make sometimes, they go all the way out to the end, and they make it 544, and they think it's times 10 to the negative 10. And 544 times 10 to the negative 10 is equal to 5.44 times 10 to the negative n. But as is the case with the 9.33, as is the case with the 5.44, whenever you put anything in scientific notation, the front number has to be between 1 and 10. You can't have 544. It's just not proper form. A scientist calculated that a golf ball hit by Pete Alonso flew 4.9 times 10 to the third inches. Express this in standard numeral form. So it should be 0.9, but I got to go 3 places for the exponent of 3. 1, 2, 3. Or if you want to look at what we just talked about, going backwards, 1, 2, 3, that makes 4.9, which is between 1 and 10. So 4,900 is correct. Next one, again, look at this, see? 7.88, that's between 1 and 10. That's what you're looking for scientific notation. Express that as a standard numeral. So I want to, since it's 7.88, I want to have 6 zeros in front of the 7, so I move it a total of 7 places because of that exponent of negative 7. The negative just means make it 0 point. So 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, a 7, there's where it is, and then the 0.88. Last but not least, Oz has 785 lollipop kids spread over 19 square miles. What's the population density to the nearest tenth? It is 41.3 kids per square mile. Plenty of kids to hang out and have a good time with. All right. Hopefully you're 100% ready for the test. Remember what I said before? If you don't feel ready, you can reach out to me for office hours, but make sure you reach out first. Got to know you're going to be there for me to make that appointment time. And the second thing you want to do is, it's always great to study in groups. Fantastic to study in groups. And make sure you use these pre-tests. Performance is a function of preparation. They're here to help you prepare. That's their purpose. I did not. You will learn. I am not trying to trick you in any way, shape, or form. I come right at you. These are the kinds of questions you need to answer. This is what you need to know how to do. And if you do know how to do it, then you'll do well on your test. If you do not know how to do it, you will not do well on your test. So learn these pre-tests. Have a great one. Take care. Bye-bye.